friends. I just got back from Taos Mountain. My name is Lauren Hutton, and this is the Kainos and the New Energy Era YouTube channel. I used to teach personal realization, personal Jesus, all the way down to the itty bitty little identity. And in the last year, I've gone from teaching personal realization. Oh, I don't like the angle of that. Let me move it. There we go. I've gone from teaching personal realization, tending to the lower chakra needs, into what's happening in all of creation. What's happening on Earth, what's happening in the near Earth realms and beyond, and all of creation. I work with a whole panel of ascended masters called the Great White Brotherhood, which has nothing to do with race or gender, actually. And white stands for purity of intention. Brotherhood stands for camaraderie or relationship. I gotta take a deep breath. For those who deny that there's bigger things going on than their personal lives, it's gonna be a doozy, right? It's gonna be a doozy. So we're in the second new light wave, right? I think you guys know this, but I just wanna put the puzzle pieces together. It's so easy to forget. So a lot of things led up to the Age of Aquarius coming into this full expression that it's come into. So in 2018, for example, almost all of us, everybody watching, let's just say that, had a connection to an archangel family, or maybe more than one. And there was a golden thread that connected you to your archangel family, so you never got lost, right? When you first came to Earth, you had that golden thread, so when you left Earth, you still had the connection to your angelic family. In 2018, those cords were cut, right? After that happened, a lot of people started to have their personal realization experience, the soul realization. The soul is so different from I am consciousness, right? I was talking to Ashtar the other night, and he was like, the people who are doing, the new agey kind of ascension path, right? The activations, you can go onto some guy named Emilio's website and download 5,000 activations, right? Or you're on these different websites that have all these teachings. I don't do that. I don't need the money, and I don't think it's useful. So anyhow, yes, I have a lot of opinions about things, and good thing that my income is not based on this, because I can just upset anybody I want. I'm going to talk more about that. So when those archangel cords were cut, a lot of people started to have their own personal realization at the soul level, finding a culmination of their lifetimes on Earth, coming into some kind of coherence for personal realization, which is so helpful. As that happened, in 2023, the passageways to all of creation began to open up. They were closed down at the fall in Atlantis to protect Earth and humanity from an influx of nefarious, not so nice alien beings. Ashtar held them off as we closed the passageways to protect Earth, right? This created the near Earth realms, right? At the baseline of the near Earth realms, it's breaking up, right? I've been meaning to talk about this, so I'm gonna get it out. So at the lowest of the astral realms, right? You have people who are alcoholics, drug addicts. They hang out in bars. Like if you like to hang out in bars, they're all just hovering around the bar area trying to get their fix. They actually don't even know they're dead. Addicts, after they die, are still trying to feed their addiction through humans, and basically they feed off of people who are alcoholics, drug addicts, whatever. As you move up in the astral realms, you have people where they go to hang out with their ancestors, right? Their karmic ancestral ties. It's actually not a bad place. There's cottages, there's food, there's community, right? Until you prepare to come back to Earth again, right? As you prepared for this lifetime, most of you, not all of you, but most of you are in the causal realms. There's a level of ancestral freedom that occurred, a level of consciousness that occurred while you were in physical form. The causal realms prepared you to come back to Earth for this lifetime to give you the tools you need to find your autonomy, your sovereignty, and your soul level realization. So going back to my conversation with Ashtar, he was talking about the people who are doing the New Agey ascension, which has its role, right? They're doing their ascension at the soul level, right? What we teach here, it's for so few. This is never going to be a huge place. It is for so few. What we teach here is descension of the I am consciousness. The soul, the human integrates into the soul. The human backs up into the soul and integrates in that personalized realization, which is like what you saw on steroids at places like the Crimson Circle. Like, I'm realized and it's on it and there's no such thing as karma and I'm free, yet they're broke and living in their parents' basement. Besides the point. Anyhow, so in what we teach here is the human integrates into the soul. It's a backing up, right? And then that soul and human combined back up into the I am consciousness. What we do here is a full descension of I am consciousness. And as you begin to, once it descends fully, and someone asked, how do you know if it descends fully? Yeshua and I are going to do a whole channel on that. You'll have an hour-long answer. I'm just not going to get to it today. I have too many things to cover. I'm a little behind. I had to take some personal time. I took 4 days off. And well, I wasn't off because I was rearranging our entire Europe trip. You know, shit happens, right? But it's all online and everybody coming is so committed to the Christ consciousness. They're not worried about their little bit of human needs, right? Everybody is coming because they care so deeply about the Christ consciousness. So once consciousness fully descends, it can begin to make its ascent. That opens up a whole new playing field. You can travel freely through all of creation in your light body vehicle. You're not stuck anywhere, right? You're not even stuck in the Ascended Masters Club. Let's be real, right? Where Ascended Masters go to hang out and debate with one another. It's like a Facebook chat group, in my opinion. I still love everybody there, but it's not, it's not a place I'd want to spend eternity. But what opens up to you is the kingdom, right? And I was Yeshua's daughter in a lifetime, and in that lifetime, and I learned from him. And everything I teach is based on that. And deeper than that, everything I teach is based, I can hear God directly out of the sphere. And then I have this ear to earth and you. My capabilities, the frequency I'm operating at has gotten so high that I don't understand little personal dynamics. I actually have a glorified psychic, basically, friend that I actually have on my payroll to help me understand the human dynamics that are way down there. This is me. I'm going to get more and more honest with you. I'm going to be more and more controversial. This place people are going to leave and it's going to whittle down. And then come June, it's going to explode with people who actually have a passion for what we're doing. So as you watch what I do, I'm going to get bigger and bolder and more honest with you. I'm going to tell you what's actually happening in all of creation without sugarcoating it. I'm going to trigger all of your lower chakra need crap. I'm going to, if you're in a marriage where you're lying to yourself and you sit in my presence for 5 minutes, you're either going to have to leave my presence to keep that karmic or ancestral family thing intact, right? Or you stay in my presence and it's going to fall apart. I'm not even saying anything, right? My capabilities are expanding in such deep ways that I don't understand the personal dynamics. So I actually have to talk to someone who operates in those lower vibrational things to understand what's going on down there. And if that's upsetting to you, please, I understand. I was a human once who was so focused on my personal needs, my love life, my bank account, I don't have that anymore. This is me being totally honest. A guy kept asking me out, and finally I was like, you know what? It's not going to hurt me to have, a beer or go on a hike, right? And I went and I was like, there is no part of me that needs another human in my life. In fact, it would be pulling me that way, and I'm going this way. Another thing that happened recently is I triggered someone and I hurt their feelings. And I was probably obnoxious. I can be obnoxious. I just don't run things through filters at all. Whatever comes out, right? But I also, like, if I do something that's not nice, you know, I will go back and apologize and own it and really say, like, at a human level, you know, look, I'm so sorry. I do it all the time. If someone says, hey, this really upset me, I'm like, let me address it, right? That's all we can do with the human. I'm going to go through the newsletter in just a second. But I was really worried about having hurt someone's feelings. And the booming voice of God came in and he says, why are you spending more time worrying about an illusory identity's needs than me? I was removing that person from your life. This has happened multiple times. It's not just one person, and it's not personal. It has nothing to do with any personality dynamics, who's good and who's bad and who's right and who's wrong. It just is. God said, how are you spending more time worried about the illusory emotional needs of a human who's not fully formed into my image than what I need and want and ask of you? It was so humbling. I started crying. I was like, I don't owe anybody an apology but God. He, she, it was trying to protect me and help me elevate all these materials and everything we're doing here, which is my whole life. I don't have categorizations where this is my personal life, this is my money life, this is my spiritual life, this is my home life. Don't let anything, it's like your food on your plate, don't let any of the food touch on the plate. Oh my God, just swirl it around and throw it in a stew, right? Categories that, like categorizing things, mental category, you know, compartmentalization is avoidance. Compartmentalization is avoidance, and it's an Atlantean design mind hangover, just like everything else in your biology. So going back, I'm meandering and spiraling. Going back to these near-Earth realms, they're going to form into planets, right? If you stay in your ancestral karmic dynamic, tending to the needs of all the karmic people in your life, sisters, brothers, husbands, children, whatever. I'm a big fan of raising your children until they're at the age they can take care of themselves. You brought them into the world. You don't abandon them, if at all possible, right? But once they hit a certain age, it's their own soul path. You're not directing it. Let it go, right? But if you stay in those ancestral karmic ties, you've been doing it with these same people for thousands of lifetimes, right? You're going to end up on one of these new earths that's like for your astral family until you can figure out your karma and then yet another lifetime in an eon existence, right? Let's talk about it. So anyhow, God was saying, hey, Sarah, right? You're here for a greater purpose, not to make sure everybody's emotional needs are met. And the emotional needs you're trying to meet are for humans who don't know who they are. They don't even explore their own emotional body, yet alone know what their own emotional needs are, because they're not even feeling their feelings. Why are you spending more time there than listening to me and trusting that anybody who's being removed from your life, I'm doing it, right? Perhaps, God said, perhaps whatever you said to that person, I put in your mouth to eject them from this plan. I say that so you know where I'm coming from and where I'm going, but also it might be relevant in your life too. If you, all of a sudden something comes out of, the more your medulla oblongata opens up, the mouth of God, the more you're going to speak direct truth. And anybody who can't stand in that, right? A little kid wants to hold the sparkler, but you give it to them and they get burned, they're going to drop the sparkler. And I think a lot of you are having that experience in your life, those who are choosing to focus solely on anchoring the Christ consciousness on earth, right? It's not like, oh, I have to give up all this stuff to anchor the Christ consciousness on earth. I have to figure out my own garbage, and then maybe if I have anything left over, I will work on bringing the Christ consciousness to earth. Perhaps those things don't need to exist as separated entities. Working your stuff out in your personal life and bringing down this new light, the Christ consciousness to earth, and it's not going to happen in a, oh, I'm balancing this and balancing that. You're never going to balance. Passion is never balanced. Passion is fierce grace. Passion is fire. Passion is the phoenix. It's the fire-breathing dragon clarity, right? It has, if you allow clarity in your life, you cannot compartmentalize. This is this, and this is this, and I'm trying to hang it in a balance. The person who's in the middle hanging in the balance is actually the little me identity, thinking that it needs to control things, that the whole world will fall apart without that little me identity. Most people doing that think this little me identity is their realized form. I'm starting to realize this, right? Because if you are truly realized, you don't need to juggle the balls, you let them go, and God is moving them sans gravity. I'm focused on my personal journey. Right? Okay, so you feel it? I'm focused on my personal journey. Me. It's all about me. My precious. It's my personal journey. Right? That's the spiritual ego rearing its ugly head. When you are bringing the Christ consciousness to earth, God takes care of all your personal needs. You just have to follow that. Open chest. No, my precious. No. Oh, right? And then if things happen, you transmute them, right? Had a big dump come through, right? Dwa Kul, who was a ascended master from the Great Right Brotherhood, taught me how to transmute dumps into money. So the last person who dumped on me just bought me a horse. Thank you. You know, and as I grow, my capabilities are, this is me being humble on the other side. I'm about to tell you a story, and I'm not criticizing anybody. If anything, I'm critiquing myself, right? I throw myself under the bus too, but my capacities are just expanding in exponential ways. I was talking to some of the Romania event organizers. I've been getting the European tour lined up and rearranging some things there. I have someone, Jeannie, coming. My body, everything is really good. My body hurts, and I'm now having to travel with a body worker. Talk about high maintenance. My spirit's clear. Everything is so good. I see really clearly. I'm about to tell you about my capabilities increasing. My body hurts really bad, so I'll be traveling with someone who can take care of my body, which I also had in Canada, so I could stay upright and get the channels out. But my capabilities are increasing in ways I cannot keep up with, right? And this is me critiquing myself. I'm having to learn how to be in the world without upsetting too many people, right? I'm always gonna upset people. Yezha will really upset people so bad he got kicked out of his hometown, and one little guy and 26 disciples, there weren't 13, blew up the entire world. The only important numbers are 2 and 5. 26 disciples and one man, Yeshua. He wasn't very big either. He was a tiny guy. Blew up the whole fucking world. Revolutionary mystic. John the Baptist walking around bare-chested in a camel-haired coat, eating locusts and honey. Blew up the whole world. It doesn't take that many. We don't need 100,000 people here coming to feed for their ascension activations. We only need 2 and 5. It's the only numbers that matter. So my capabilities are increasing in ways unfathomable. I was cooking dinner in my Taos condo. You guys, I live so freely. Like, I wake up every day, I'm like, I may move to Miami. And if I decide that, I don't worry about my lease. I don't worry about money. I just put everything in the car and drive off. I've left full apartments with 6 months on the lease. I just don't worry about stuff like that. I live my life very freely. But I heard the Taos Mountain, La Montaña, calling me, and I was like, oh, I need to go to the mountain. And then I go, oh yeah, I own a condo there. I mean, I forget that I own a fucking condo. That's how freely I live my life. That really triggers people because they see me doing that, speaking whatever comes out of my mouth as the medulla oblongata opens up. You don't have a filter anymore, you know, and if I don't like something, I just leave. I don't have to ask my partner for money, you know. I have my own car. I have my own house. I would never be in a situation where I didn't have my own car and my own house and my own bank account with my own name on it, where I had to ask somebody permission. That triggers people really, really deeply if they're not living in that kind of freedom. It can inspire you or it can piss you off. I don't even care. What I do care about is bringing the Christ consciousness to earth. All of creation, the health of all of creation depends on what you do. If you are so focused on your personal journey and getting your, you know, like in your lower chakra needs, you're holding up a middle finger to God, creation, to bias, Yeshua, and mainly yourself, your true self, your I am consciousness. The soul is kind of a whiny little bitch. Once she integrates, you have that full expression of I am consciousness, and you go, ugh, the human was kind of whiny and victim-y. The soul, everybody's on the soul journey, being. Once that integrates, you stop being a little whiny brat. You stop worrying about your own personal needs. That doesn't mean you don't attend to them. My needs are met, right? So as these capabilities have been increasing, my medulla oblongata is, you know, the 2 points in the back. You know, there was an Atlantean implant put into the back of the head so people wouldn't speak their truth, right? You can either just say, you're out, that's all that needs to happen, become aware of that implant, or the Kundalini will shake it free and you don't have to worry about it. But I've talked to one of you, if you've been opening this, you know the intense amount of pain. I know pain's an illusion, but it's also really real, that flows through there. So my medulla oblongata, it opened up like in 2023 as the passageways to all of creation opened up, because all of creation lives inside of me. But it's going through another round, like, which is why my hair is not dried, because I don't have the the physical bandwidth to dry my hair right now with a hairdryer. But I was standing in my Taos condo kitchen after I realized, oh yeah, wait, I do have a condo in Taos. I can go there. And then I had to text a friend ask her what the key code was, because I don't remember. I have a condo. I don't remember the key code. I have a lot of human friends who help me out a lot. And so she gave me the key code. But I was cooking dinner in that tiny little kitchen. And you know, usually I hear masters, but all of them appeared in 5D holographic form. The whole GWB. Do you know how many people how many beings that are there? There's Ashtar, there's Saint G, there's Katumi, there's Moria, there's Yeshua, there's Tobias, Sadhguru, all of the Indians, Dua Kul, beings that are names like the Holy Spirit. Like that's what they embody, the Holy Spirit. One that embodies just Nost, has no human personality. But I was like, oh my God, I can't just hear them, I can see them. So that's one thing that's changed. I can also see duality and karma playing out with my physical eyes now. And I'm gonna tell you a story, and I'm not criticizing anybody in this story but myself, okay? So take a deep breath. I was traveling with some of you. This is a critique of me, don't worry. I'm not throwing you under the bus, I'm throwing myself under the bus. I'm happy to do it. I don't have a spiritual ego I have to maintain. I'm never gonna be perfect. Sometimes I drink too much and I'm obnoxious. Sometimes I get too high. I'm human. I'm always going to be human too. We'll talk about that when I get to the newsletter. So we walk up to this Airbnb and I see a dense, with my physical eyes, a dense, grayish, darkish film over the whole house. And sitting outside the house is construction equipment. And this was like a high-end, super expensive Airbnb. It's no one's fault, okay? But as I'm walking up, I look at three of you guys and you guys can't see it. I feel like whatever's inside is going to be very, very dangerous. So I hold my hand back, tell everyone to wait, and I ask for the code. I press the code into this Airbnb. I didn't book it. It's no one's fault, okay? I open the door, and it's like this oozing black, remember those slime balls we used to play with in the 80s? Not Play-Doh, that's too dense, but slime, black slime is sliding out the door, right? This is how I see reality. And there's all these eyes of people in there, and they're not good people. It would be like walking into a karmic nest. And because this is a new capability, a new way I'm seeing things, I see duality as like a black, gunky film. I see people walk into these karmic situations unaware that they're walking into a karmic situation. And if you have hung out with me and you're in my inner circle, I hold an umbrella of karmic protection over your head. As soon as you tell me to go fuck myself, you're out of the umbrella, which is fine. You can take care of yourself, right? It's not a right, wrong, good or bad thing. It's not a punishment thing. It's just like I only have so much energy, and I just have to protect my energy, which is why I have so many animals around me. And Dwal Cool, he's like a bodyguard, right? So these people are under my umbrella, right? I'm not just holding my hand back. I'm energetically shielding them from what's inside this house. It's dirty and dark, right? And they can't see it. So they're like, oh, and then the Airbnb guy's like, oh, it was a mistake. I'll upgrade you to another house. Anyhow, it's a massive scam. It's dripping in karmic whatever. We continue going down this karmic path. Somebody's car is going to get stolen. It's not safe. Somebody's purse is going to get stolen. It's not safe. But they insist upon going to this next house, right? And all of this is happening, and it's so overwhelming for me because I can see things they can't see. And it took me a while to unpack this. It's been about 3 weeks. And I became really angry. And not at them, right? I just became angry at the whole situation, and not angry, scared. Under anger is fear, right? So it's like I'm angry, but it's like, oh no, it's actually really fear that I'm gonna start crying. Something could happen to these people, and they're just totally unaware, walking through life like whatever. And I used to be that way too. Oh, it doesn't really matter. You know, I was like that too because it was just too much to handle. And I expressed this later on in the evening, and it came out really not nice. This is me, and I realized 3 weeks later, oh my God, these people can't see what I see, and I got angry at them, and it's not their fault, right? So this is me being vulnerable, trying to adjust to these capabilities that just keep coming in. My vision's increasing. Everything I hear, it's like, forget the Ascended Masters. I can hear God direct. Can you see it? I can hear him fucking direct all day long, right? And what he's telling me doesn't match people's personal needs. So it makes me feel like I'm being ripped in two. So I'm having to adjust to the Age of Aquarius. I used to teach you guys in the Piscean Age. You know, we would get on those conversations, create calls. I know everything your husband didn't do, every financial thing. I would, your Zoom didn't work, I'd meet you on Skype. I would just bend over backwards for each and every one of you. And I was glad to do it. But the Age of Aquarius, I can hear God directly, and he's like, stop filling up the cups of identities that are not even real, and listen to me, Sarah, or you are going to die. Because the energy just can't handle it. So I'm telling you this because I'm learning. Maybe you'll have, as your capabilities expand, you'll have to learn too. But it's also me telling, as soon as someone wants me to go down there, My choices are to call the lower vibrational psychic to understand what's happening down there, or to cut off my connection to God to go down there and attend to whatever drama you've got going on in that prison cell of your Atlantean designed mind. You're in a single hexagon in the honeycomb, and I have to go visit you in prison. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's time to grow the fuck up or go play somewhere else, right? And that's going to happen. This is going to whittle down to people who are really passionate about bringing the Christ consciousness to earth, to really exploring where they're lying to themselves, to open up the compartmentalized aspects of their life and open them up. You know, if your relationships, your job, how you live your life is in alignment with God, they won't blow up. If they're not in alignment with Source, with your I am consciousness, and your soul integrates into your I am consciousness, anywhere you've been lying to yourself is going to blow up. And that is not my fault, and it has nothing to do with me. When your shit blows up because you're in a karmic marriage where you have no control over your own finances or your vehicle or your house, or, you know, your name's not on the lease, whatever, right? That's going to blow up, and it's not my fault. Your I am consciousness is doing that. If you sit in my presence, because of the level I'm vibrating at, your I am consciousness connects with mine, and it's like, oh, so-and-so's lying to herself, and I say, I don't want anything to do with that. But it's like, from a human mind perspective, I was there at the scene, so I must have caused it. And you know what? God says, if that's the case, the umbrella moves, right? No, it's not personal, right? I mean, I cried like 2 hours on my drive home when God said, why are you spending more time going down there than listening to me? It's a realized identity you're negotiating with. When I here have bigger plans for you and for people who have the purity of heart and the openness of heart, right? The people who are coming to our France event, who are organizing it, they want nothing more in life than to bring the Christ consciousness to earth. They have families, they have children. They're taking, you know, time away from their daily needs. They have jobs to come do this with full commitment. So if someone says, I don't really know, and my personal needs are being, no. Right? There's too much happening in all of creation. And when you get so involved with your personal stories, I'm a huge fan of having your needs met. As I said, I have all my needs met. I got 2 places to live, a full bank account. You know, I'm physically healthy now. I'm sexually healthy. I've got flow. All of my lower chakra needs are being met sexually through myself, right? I am safe. I have that deep connection to God. All my lower chakra needs are being met. We're not abandoning the needs of the human, right? Once those needs are met, then you can expand out. But what most people are doing is, I'm in my personalized, realized journey, but they're really just trying to feel safe, find some autonomy in their financial situation, and like make sure that they don't upset any of their ancestral family that they've got all around them. Ancestral karmic family around them. Yeshua's coming in on Sunday. He's going to talk to you about that in a very, very deep way. I'm getting you prepped for the Yeshua thing coming in. So I sent out on Sunday short stories that soothe and inspire. I've been using the word soothe a lot. S-O-O-T-H-E. Soothe, because we're trying to soothe the nervous system, right? But when you take the E off, sooth, S-O-O-T-H, means truth, right? To soothe with truth, like soothsayer. Soothing, soothe, truth, right? Truth is soothing. Truth will set you free. If it's not love, it's a lie. To know your own lie is to know your own truth. And that's what's really heading your way in this new light wave. truth is you can't compartmentalize things anymore. Compartmentalization is avoidance. This is this. This is this. Notice what it feels like. This is this. This is that. No compartments. Open the box. Open the mind. New neural networks. Letting go of neurons that no longer serve you. Thought patterns that no longer serve you. I'm going to show you how to do this in the donor video on March 10th. So, few short stories. Today I wanted to share a few anecdotes from you all, anonymously of course. Yesterday, when I was in Taos, I stopped by to see one of you, one of my friends. I had the pleasure of sitting with one of you who was diving deep into the Access Light Body Code. This one's all about allowing the deep subconscious imprints, memories, to come up. It's almost like finding a string to pull. Like imagine a ball of string that's really tightly wound and really confused. Somehow, right, in this subconscious information coming up to the surface, transcendental meditation, but modern, right? So when this information comes up to the surface, it's like a string you can pull that unravels a really tangled ball of string. You just pulled the exact right string to unravel that tangled mess, right? This loosens up the old hardwired for perfection, which is an ultimate Atlantean program. As this person was sharing with me, face to face, I saw how much freedom and space she had cultivated for herself from the neck down. A complete fluidity of spirit, biological freedom, deep bow. She found the string to pull, and it was a samskara, an energetic imprint. I won't tell you what it is because I don't want to violate her privacy, but it was a samskara, a scar in the divine blueprint that is her. Once she identified it, it pulled a string and it activates other pieces of the divine blueprint. So everybody has the same capability as me and Yeshua, right? I used to teach divine blueprint, and we would go into our divine blueprint, right? The designated ascendee lifetime lights up, right? It starts to make its way to all the lifetimes become realized. As that happens, you find the energetic imprints, the strings you need to pull on, right? As you pull those strings, different parts of your divine blueprint activate. So a lot of you, you'll say, oh, I don't have the same capabilities of you. You do, they're just dormant in your divine blueprint. Melissa, I haven't even talked to you on email or anywhere else, but I had a full-blown telepathic conversation with you, Melissa, about this. Someone who did the divine blueprint, right? It's like once you identify those samskaras and pull on those little strings, the capabilities are activated in the dormant parts of your divine blueprint. If you took the divine blueprint course with me, in which I poured myself and my resources into you, into your hearts, I gave you all my love, all my support, to the detriment of my health. This was Piscean Age, sacrifice yourself for the greater good kind of thing. You'll know what I'm talking about. So as you pull those samskara strings, you're activating your dormant gifts in your divine blueprint. All right. We are in the de-standardization of the human form, and that requires a complete deconstruction of identity. To be in your light body, you have to allow the clarity of the deconstruction of the realized lifetime identity. And that is brutal. You have my deepest compassion. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going in there while you're yelling and screaming. So if you're wondering, who am I now? Instead of being sure of who you are, I'd say you're doing it right? Anybody who has a firm, fixed identity is playing in spiritual ego, because the ego wants to keep things nice, neat little package, right? When the spiritual ego, the birds fly out of the cage and the cage disappears, right? You're going to have a moment of going, oh, I'm not that realized identity. I actually don't know who I am, but I'm willing to sit in the uncomfortable, unknown unknowns until something new forms. That is energetic maturity. That's the maturity that is required to bring the Christ consciousness to earth. And that's hard when you're around people all day who are reinforcing their projected version of you. It's very difficult. If you have a huge family or whatever, I'm not telling you to get rid of them, but maybe go take a week by yourself, right? Who am I now? If your relationships are in alignment with I am consciousness, they'll stay. If they're not, they'll go, right? This is my next story. So just to sum that up, only the standardized Atlantean design mind would be able to hold on to some sort of rigidity of self. Allowing change is key to thriving here. Let the light change you. I'm letting the light change me. I had that whole experience with the Airbnb and seeing all this stuff and trying to protect these people and getting like anger, which is really a deep fear of like these people who I love so deeply walking into a really not nice situation, creating karma for themselves and other people and like holding them back, all while trying to enjoy myself. I was not nice. It was so overwhelming. It's a new capability for me that I didn't have the ability to process it, right? So there's the compassion part, right? And then the faith in God that whatever God is removing from my life over and over again, he, she, it is doing it because I'm going somewhere that they can't come. So know that for yourself, right? Your friends who have the really rigid I am realized identity and like they're not going to come with you here, right? The great sorting is happening, and Yeshua is going to talk about that on Sunday. He's calling it the great sorting. The sorting has begun. You going to stay in your ancestral garbage for another eon of existence? Sorted, right? We'll go into that on Sunday. Only the standardized mind would be able to hold on to some sort of rigidity of self. Allowing change is key to thriving here. Let the light change you. I'm letting it change me, and I'm not perfect. I'm never going to get it right. The way you get it right is by allowing that change. This also taps into the deeply wired spiritual ego that holds the human to impossible standards. A tightly wound, standardized, realized version of self, a ticking time bomb feeling. I've had it, that ticking time bomb feeling, where I'm like, maybe this realized version of self that I've held on to so tightly has to blow up. Yeah, it's not fun. Sorry, I wish I could sugarcoat that. I can't. You can only hold it all together in perfection for so long before the collapse occurs. It's so easy to forget that the human never, ever, ever becomes realized or enlightened. We can only bring dignity to the human experience by staying open to change, committing to honest communication, and knowing what's ours to own, and sorting it from the never-ending projections of the relative reality fixations and personal identities, right? Remember I called personality personal insanity in the Samadhi course, which is on the members page, right? Personal insanity. Let me read that again. It's so easy to forget the human never, ever, ever becomes enlightened. We can only bring dignity to the human experience by staying open to change, committing to honest communication, and knowing what's ours to own and sorting it from the never-ending projections and the relative reality fixations. The spiritual ego collapse is an inside job, not a finger pointing to an externality. I went through a full spiritual ego collapse inside of myself. Come hang out with me in person. You will see I allow my human to be human. I don't put myself on any sort of pedestal. I cuss, I smoke, sometimes I drink too much, not at events. I'm human, fully fucking human. And there's no way to, the more I try to tame my human into some manicured version of enlightened perfection, the worse my health got. You can only hold the poop inside so long before you just have to take a crap. You're still gonna crap. It's still gonna stink. You're human. I'm going to skip that example because it's too triggering. All right. This idea of Zen master enlightened perfection doesn't exist. You are bringing your messy, imperfect, yet totally lovely humanity with you. It is the energy piece in the new energy equation. The human will always be gloriously messy, and honoring and owning that is where the love is formed. If you reject your messy, messy, but lovely, lovely human, you cannot bring the Christ consciousness to earth. Identity holds you back from experiencing this. I can't imagine holding my humanity to such a standard. It is so far from new energy love. Even Yeshua never did this. He felt his emotions freely and expressed them freely, and always pushes me to show you this vulnerability publicly as a standard for full expression. If you were hoping for some sort of perfection and linearity in your life, I'm going to be massively triggering. Massively. That God, he, she, it, source, is saying that is weeding people out left and right, and it's the best thing for this space so the materials can come out clearer and cleaner in a higher view, higher perspective of what's happening in all of creation, rather than tending to, that's what it sounds like. I mean, I have to pay someone to understand what's happening down there now. I can't run the conversations that create calls. As soon as you would start talking about your dog, I would shut down. It's not that I don't love you or care about you. It's that I love you and care about you so much that I'm not going down there. I'm going to pull you up here if you want. You guys love your free will. If you want, I will honor that. I will honor the law of earth. I usually don't follow the laws of man. I follow the laws of cosmic love, right? Free will is a planet Earth thing. I don't understand it, but I'll honor it the best I can. But if you feel like, oh, you're not honoring my free will, I'm doing my fucking best to honor your man-made construct. I really am. The mask of enlightened perfection will be ripped off in the intensity of this new light wave. The less tightly you grip onto that mask, the easier this becomes. The surrender to the light in motion. Another of you had a really tangible experience in the split that is occurring, the sorting, as Yeshua was calling it. One of you told me you were at a sit-down dinner with family that revealed so intensely at a biological, cellular level. This person realized at a biological, cellular level that they would never be able to continue into the next iteration of the Christ consciousness if they continued to contort themselves to appease a long-running ancestral karmic connection. A sit-down dinner with family revealed so intensely at a biologically cellular level that this person would never be able to continue into the next iteration of the Christ consciousness if they continued to contort themselves to appease a long-running ancestral karmic connection. It's really surreal to sit in such a space where you realize they cannot even see you. She said, I realize they can't even see me. You are just a figment in their imaginational projections. As long as someone's not connected to their I am consciousness fully, they are just little fragments of program personality. It's a hard thing to understand. They're also deeply human, and there's a flow of respect for that in there too. Being able to hold the dichotomy, the paradox, in a simultaneity is this mind of light. You can understand that they're human and souled and whatever, and realize that they're just a pile of program, projection, cartoon character. And you can hold that in a space of coexistence without categorizing it or having to pick one or the other. Energetic maturity. When you have these deep biological experiences, when I have those, I won't speak for this person, but when I have them, it feels like an excellent guilt and shame-free permission slip to go ahead and move on. Others feel their relationships deepen, right? I've heard from some people who are feeling their relationships deepen. Not the, I'm sorry, I'm going to upset somebody, but I'm going to say it anyway. The story where I changed, so they changed, and then I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but that story of, well, I changed inside, so now they changed inside. It's spiritual ego trying to cling to something. I'm sorry. Please don't yell at me, right? But some others are really feeling their relationships deepen. I mean, the ability to be ourselves with our loved ones and not mask is so absolutely key to bringing the Christ consciousness to earth. Once you finally stop masking around your family and friends, you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna realize it took so much of your energy to hold that mask up and not just be yourself. I'm not saying you tell them you're enlightened and you're opening up the passageways to all of creation, but you're fully yourself without that mask and putting the mask on to play the role and then take it off. Put it on, take it off, right? Or talking down to them at their level. That's your spiritual ego. Well, I temper what I say to my family because they just don't get it. That's your spiritual ego. How do I know? I live this with you guys. Everything I point out, I've done. I'm not trying to scold you, right? I'm just trying to point out things you've been avoiding. Right? If you can't be you in full, it really creates an energetic impasse in your body of consciousness that will eventually wreck your nervous system or push you to the other side of this split that deepens with every new energy breath you take. I also wrote about the Epstein files on the newsletter, but I'm going to skip that here, right? There's certain things that I put in the newsletter that I don't want to put on the public YouTube page. But also, like, I do want to point out one thing that I mentioned, right? Gender becomes gender's a man-made construct, right? And when you're embodying all that you are, you're going to have a fluid gender. I have days where I don't feel any gender at all, right? Some days I'm fully in my divine feminine form. It's where I like to be, right? And then I have to tap into the masculine side to get any of this done, to tell people, no, that's not okay. You can't talk to me that way. There has to be a balance in the masculine side to make anything happen in this world. For those of you who are constantly seeking your other half, your divine counterpart, what you're really seeking is to create that within you, and then you won't want anybody outside of yourself. If they come in whole, you might have an interaction, you might create a life together, but you won't desire it, crave it, watch readings on it. It just, once you're whole inside yourself, you're whole inside yourself, so that seeking for the divine counterpart, and meet your own sexual needs. There's nothing wrong with sex, right? I see a lot of people in the spiritual world who have gone either way, where it's like overtly animalistic sexualization, or they've shut it down completely. I'm a supremely sexual being, which means an integrated being, which means I'm not going to mix my energy with someone who is not fully integrated and open to God's self-sexuality, right? Your desire for that divine counterpart is something that's missing inside of you, not outside of you, right? So gender may feel fluid, right? Your relationship may fall apart. God forbid. People are so crazy about keeping everything together. What do we do now? Let go and let God. Let go and let God. Do you care more about hanging on to a karmic relationship than you do about bringing the Christ consciousness to earth? That's some fucked up shit. That's when I have to call psychic on hand and be like, what is going on down there? I can't figure it out. Isn't that dumb that I've had to have someone on payroll to tell me what's going on down there? Because I don't know. And I'm not going in there myself. Someone can report back to me, just like I report back to God and Tobias and Yeshua and everybody else. My personal healing journey over the last 6 months, oh my God, I have healed my inner child. Never in a million years did I think that I would have an opportunity present itself to me to go in and meet my inner child and reparent her and rewild her with fierce grace. It's been a 6-month journey for me, and it has brought me so, my inner child is happy. She's safe. She's loved. It is like, it's better feeling than realization. I'm just so shocked and surprised. If you have that opportunity, I hope you take it. My personal healing journey over the last 6 months was like tunneling deep into those wounds of the gender constructs and the archetypes and the childhood traumas and the old imprints I bypassed in my previous silly quest to be perfectly enlightened. What nonsense. In embracing those wounds and exploring them fully, I feel like I have tunneled back up to the light with a newfound humility, vulnerability, flexibility, something I'm still working on, that has felt like the sun shining on my face in the context of a very cold day. Finally, many have told me this intensity has pushed you deeper into the connection and conversation with big H I am, or I am consciousness for those who don't like to talk God. But once you meet God, you won't be able to use any other word. You won't be like, my I am, my I am. When you meet God, you'll go, God. There's no other word for it than God. I am. That's when I know someone hasn't met God. Haven't met God. I am. My human. I'm not trying to make fun of you guys. I'm trying to show you what's available to you if you stop playing in this cesspool of realized identity. I was down there once. I will never go back there. To me, it's like visiting hell. I'm not going in there. Or the astral realms of the addicts. Spiritual ego is an addiction. Ancestral karma is an addiction. Yeshua was going to talk about that. It's harder to break ancestral karmic ties than it is for a heroin addict to quit doing heroin. That's what Yeshua says. So many of you have been telling me that this intensity has pushed you deeper into the connection and conversation with God consciousness. I have to say, without being able to connect to that supreme source God or having any blind faith in it, the next 10 years will become impossible for you. The avoidance and the categorization in the mind, in your life, the more tightly you grip, the worse this is going to be. On my drive to Taos, I heard the song, We Found Love in a Hopeless Place by Rihanna. We found love in a hopeless place. And it just really struck me, right? The world may seem hopeless. You signed up for the apocalypse, remember? But this love can only be found in the deep deconstruction of all that was a lie. Stop avoiding it. Deconstruct the lies so you can become whole for yourself. And as you deconstruct the lies and become whole for yourself, you are creating a vehicle for the light, for this new light, for the new energy, for the Christos consciousness to come to earth. Yeshua, Tobias are out there waiting for you. Ashtar's holding off any nefarious people or alien beings who are trying to mess with it. Most of those nefarious alien beings he's holding off are your unintegrated aspects. Bring them home so Ashtar can get a break, he says. Ashtar and St. G are actually working together on this, right? Never in a million years, right? Would St. G work with someone like that? We're all putting our beef aside on the GWB to all work together. It's that important. I wish you could see it. If you stop focusing on having your little bitty baby human needs met, you will be able to see this. You'll activate the part. Melissa, I know you're doing this. I'm sorry, I hope I'm not embarrassing you. I haven't even emailed you yet. But it's like when you stop focusing on those little bitty, you step into the unknown unknowns, and then they become known unknowns, unknown knowns, and then they become the known known, right? It spans out. You have to step into the complete darkness to activate these dormant networks in your divine blueprint. And it'll illuminate your capabilities, right? I gave you a human example of that Airbnb where it's like, oh my God, these capabilities have interacted, but my human hasn't caught up with yet. And it's made me a little crazy. 2 people gave me grace. 1 person didn't. Oftentimes I feel like telling people, and I have, like, if you spent 24 hours in my shoes, you'd be in the funny farm. I'm doing pretty good considering. People can be so hard on me. They can also treat me like I have the ring from the Lord of the Rings in my body. They're touching me, touching my hair, feeling on me. They want the ring, right? They think they're jealous of me and my life and my human. And it's like, no, there's the rings in there. And as you activate the light within yourself, and that activates your capabilities, you may be experiencing that too. So I like to tell all sides of the stories. It's taking my human a lot of malleability, fluidity, stretching to adapt to all these new capabilities. And my human is not always getting it right? So thanks to the people who gave me grace on that. My fucking God. Right? So we found love in a hopeless place. The world may seem hopeless, but we are in the apocalypse that you signed up for. Remember, every time you guys watch the news, you're like, oh my God. It's like, this is what you signed up for. That's what your I am is saying to you, not me. Your own essence is saying, dear human, this is what we signed up for. But this love can only be found in the deep deconstruction of all that was a lie. No apocalypse, no Age of Aquarius. More status quo, no change. Structures have to collapse. Inequalities have to come up to the surface. The more crazy the news is, the more awful the news is, unfortunately, because we're on the planet, learn lesson, planet of duality. The worse the news is, and it's horrible for me to watch, I am not immune. I feel deeply. The worse it is, the more cracks it creates for the Christos consciousness to anchor. You can't have one without the other on planet learn a lesson duality. This takes me back to Moria putting his hand on my back, injecting me with the most profound love I have ever experienced biologically in this lifetime. And then he said, if it doesn't feel like this, it's a lie. The key here is I actually had to feel worthy enough to receive it. So if I were going to focus on anything in this second new light wave influx, I'd really be meditating on my nervous system opening up to be able to receive this new light that is love. The spiritual identity, or the ancestral one you play in all these karmic roles, will keep you from being able to experience the real thing. Stop avoiding it, look at it, allow the I am forgiveness to permeate. Once you allow that I am forgiveness to permeate, then you have opened up the networks for this love to enter. We can no longer do this alone together in the tightly wound little chambers of the Atlantean design mind. Autonomy is found in embracing the unity. The unity is found in your own subjective autonomy. When you allow this dichotomy to coexist, we are creating a whole new energy network across the globe that will radiate out into all of creation as Tobias and Yeshua and Ashtar keep the passageways open for it. You have to do your part. Without you, there would be no light or love. You matter so intensely, which is why I've been willing to go attend to your human emotions that aren't real, the stories you tell yourself that are not real. You matter so intensely. That responsibility is also your freedom and your ticket to a new world free from duality. The gates of the kingdom will open for you. You got this. No one can do it for you but you. Some souls will just not be able to do it this round, and that's okay. You will watch them fall into the whitewash and get pummeled. If it's already happened once, it'll happen again. What you choose now at this juncture in the history of creation will dictate your soul's trajectory for the next eon of existence. What you chose at the fall of Atlantis, you wouldn't admit sovereignty existed, you drowned. You created another 1,000 lifetimes of suffering to try to figure it out. Those who denied Yeshua was the light, they were too scared, another 1,000 lifetimes of suffering to undo all of that. We're at another critical juncture. What you choose now will dictate your soul's trajectory for the next eon of existence. I will be as bold to suggest it might be worth hurting some people's feelings to put your own entire future timelines on the line you choose for yourself. It's worth hurting someone's feelings to set your soul on a trajectory for the next 1,000 years. Maybe. Might be willing to tell your needy sister to F off, right? Like, I'm sorry, but I'm choosing my trajectory for the next eon of existence. I can't argue with you over a teapot. Those on the other side of the split will stay on planet learn a lesson as it deepens into its next technological iteration. There's no wrong answer. I just hope you choose consciously and with precision and accuracy, rather than go with the flow, suck in, without the autonomy of choice, which occurred for many at the last apocalypse in Atlantis. So much is at stake, and you get to choose your own adventure here. My job is just to highlight the choices to be made, not to decide for you. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm trying to lay out what the choices are for you in a very clear way. Please stop fighting me on that. Please stop dumping on me because I'm illuminating the choices. I'm not trying to decide for you, right? At the first sign that someone's getting like that with me, I'm gonna walk away. All I hear all day long is God talking in this ear. So can you imagine what it sounds like down here compared to that? I can't pull myself that way. I'm barely keeping my body on earth right now for you, for the Christ consciousness, to open up this doorway to the kingdom. Once I get 5 of you there and 2 to watch the door, I'm going home. This is not my home. I left home to come here and do this for you guys. You don't have to see that. You don't have to honor it, but you're not going to take a dump on it. I'm working my way home. Every cell in my body is here in service. God filled up the abundance in my life to make it a little bit easier on me to do it. I love you so much. I hope you choose what's perfect for you. If that's another 1,400 lifetimes with your same karmic family and that's what you really want, have at it. My job is just to point it out to you. You guys get so lost in the day-to-day. As my capabilities open up, I'm going to have some rough human moments. I hope you give me a little grace. I give myself grace. Some of you guys hold me to a standard I don't even hold myself to, that God doesn't even hold me to, right? You got to give yourself some grace as you open up to these new capabilities, as these activations happen in your divine blueprint, right? You wake up one day and you look at your family and you're like, I don't even know you. You guys are strangers. And then you walk off. This is what it looks like. Sorry, not sorry. Earth was just a stopover, right? As we open up all of creation, we found love here. We found wisdom here. We got to experience masculine and divine, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? What beautiful lessons did you learn on earth that you want to take into Shambhala, the kingdom, and all of creation? Can you see how small and insignificant your little human drama is? Embrace the human so it becomes all of humanity, right? You're no longer operating in a human, but the human becomes all of humanity. The realized identity mask comes off and you say, oh my God, I just healed my inner child. It was so wonderful. She's just playing inside my chest all day long, just happy, because I had a really awful childhood. And I've healed that and rewrote the story. He said, she's just having the best time. My inner child is so happy. It has brought me so much joy. This is what it looks like. Every day I get struck by love lightning. I'm down on the floor crying tears that are neither sad nor happy. It's like God is moving through me and it flows through the tears. And I'm just so full and my heart is so open. And anybody whose heart is so clamped shut is not going to be able to hang out here. It's just not going to work. I wish them well. I love you guys. All the stuff you did up to this, all the work you did put into yourself leading up to this was excellent, but you have to let some of it go now. The only important numbers are 5 and 2.